Say hey, Milo. Milo is a part of the production. All right. So this is my first video. Welcome. This will be my testimony video. So let's just get into it, y'all. God told me to, I've been wanting to make a YouTube for a long time anyway, right? Because I feel called to do this. But God told me to let my first YouTube video be a testimony. So, okay, I was like, okay, let me just go ahead and get ready for that, right? But, so I wrote some notes on my phone to keep me in line because I could talk and talk and talk. All right, so let me just do that. But let me start off introducing myself. So my name is Micah Alana. I live in Houston, Texas, and this is my channel. So hope that's a good enough introduction. That's what y'all getting. Okay? Yeah. I've been. But anyway, so let's start. So the testimony. Okay. So as you can see from the thumbnail, I went through a lot. I have been through plenty. I tell everyone that I meet that I feel like I've lived a million years, and I'm not lying about that. Like, I really do feel like I've lived a million years. This testimony would specifically be about the year 2020, which was crazy for everyone, I know, all the way up to the end of year 2023 and a little bit of this year 2024, right? But anyway, so I will continue doing testimonies as long as God have me, because he brings me through so much, and I just thank God I don't look like what I've been through. Ain't that right? It is a blessing to overcome, for sure. So let me go ahead and get into it. So let's start 2020. So boom. Actually, let's back up a little bit. Let's give you some background knowledge, right? So 2019, the last year of normal life for us here on earth, everything was fast, everything was furious, right? And I actually visited Houston, Texas in 2019. And so when I came in 2019, I was like, okay, I'm definitely moving. I didn't know what time I was moving, but I knew I was moving. And then, I came to Houston specifically because I was in the beauty industry at the time. So I went to school to be a nail tech, and right after I went back for my master's in business, I wanted to come to Houston for business and beauty. And so me and my best friend, business partner, we like packed up our stuff and came to Houston. That was crazy in itself because we was planning to come to Houston. But we didn't have like any like real solidified stuff. Now we had applied to apartments. We had looked at everything. We applied to the apartment we wanted. We had looked at everything, but it still wasn't like set in stone for real. What made it be set was that I work in corporate, and at the time, that was when they were like, take your computer home, we'll be back next week. And if next week never came. I have not worked in the office since 2020, and it's 2024. I never went back. I've been remote for 4 years at this point. I actually don't ever plan on going back into an office in my life, right? So thank God for that, right? Because I had been wanting that anyway. But so went home, stuff like that. So mind you, the whole world is looking like, what is going on? Everyone knows the year 2020, we were all like, No one had ever seen that before. No one. It was crazy. No one in our lifetime had ever seen that before. So we're at home, and my apartment complex, my lease was coming up. I already knew that, but when that hit, I was like, there is no way y'all gonna put me out in the midst of a pandemic. We couldn't even leave in the state of North Carolina without it being an emergency. You were like supposed to be in the house. You could get in trouble, you know, like for being outside the house during that time. It was brand new. This was April 2020. Y'all, my apartment complex was like, no, somebody already got your apartment booked. You got 2 weeks to get out. I had 2 weeks to get out in the middle of a brand new pandemic. I was like, okay, because business is business, and I understand that there's not a lot of emotion. I always say there's no emotion, but I'm trying to change that. So there's not a lot of emotion in business as it stands. So when they were like, yeah, you got 2 weeks, I was like, either I'm going to go back home or find another apartment here, which was in Charlotte, North Carolina, or I am going to just go live my dreams and actually like move to the place I want to move to. I prayed about it. I said, God, please don't move me there unless it's from you. It's predestined, right? Make it easy. Okay, I like when things are easy. Make it easy for me to get there, and he made it easy. He made it absolutely easy. We got a stimulus check. Mind you, at the time I was not making six figures. I was not even close. I wasn't even touching half of 100K at that point. So when that stimulus check came in, I was like, oh, okay, use that stimulus check to move to Houston. I had to pay to ship my stuff. I thought I was gonna drive a U-Haul. Thank God I didn't do that. But I had to pay to ship my stuff, and then I drove my car from Winston to Charlotte, then Charlotte to Houston, well, Atlanta, and then Atlanta to Houston. I will never make that drive again. Don't ask me, because I'm not doing it. If it's over, it used to be if it was over 4 hours, I wasn't driving. Now if it's over 2 to 3, just put me on the plane, because I'm not sitting in the car that long. I'm just not. But anyway, that was a 17-hour trip for me, I believe. And that was the longest driving experience I have ever had. Now, I'm a great driver, but I just don't recommend that drive if you're trying to make a move like that, because I moved when the world was in the house, and it was still hard. Imagine now, 4 years later, or whenever you're watching this, the traffic is horrendous. I just wouldn't do it. I don't recommend. But anyway, so once they told me we had 2 weeks to get out, me and my best friend packed everything up. We got a U-Haul and took all of our stuff to the pod, and then we packaged it up, and I went home to tell my parents I love them, and I'm gonna go to Houston to make them proud. And that was it. And I chose to move and follow my dreams, because I haven't lived at home for the last decade, and so I'm used to living on my own. Whether I'm struggling or not, I'm just used to being on my own, and I appreciate it because it strengthened the relationship what I had with my parents. They now know and have known that if anything happens to them, I'm gonna be okay. I'm gonna be okay, and they don't have to worry about that. And it's gotten so good that I'm able to help them and send them money, because God has just been that good. So I moved, and I up and left, right? So mind you, we moved we move, we get here happy, ecstatic, right? We go get our stuff from the pod. They shipped it down. Thank God for that, because that drop was so crazy. We've seen so many accidents, even though there was nobody even on the road. So thankful for that. But drove through a lot of sundown towns. I don't know if y'all know, but I am African American. My dad is black. My mom is black. My parents went through segregation. So as much as people say that, you know, we don't live that style of life, like my parents went through, you know, racial difficulties. Not saying that we don't, because we do, but even as the new atmosphere of the economy is lighter for us, it's not like segregated and stuff. Sundown towns, no, we drove straight through those, like, Lord, please get us through, okay? Because it's still dangerous. Sadly, it's still dangerous. So got through those, made it to Houston, boom, here, get our stuff off the pod, and we move in, things are good, right, for about like a few weeks. And then we lost income in the house due to workplace, I don't even know if I could say this word on YouTube, but it was unkindness in the workplace. So we lost income to the house. Do you know how crazy it feels to have everything smoothly go so you can move across the country at a young age, young 20s, just for you to lose income when you get there? Oh my gosh, that was such a crazy time in my life. So yeah, the house lost income. And we were like, okay, what are we gonna do? And we were like, okay, we're gonna have to trust God. Now, mind you, losing income was intense, but God still provided during those times where we was down to one income in the house, because I had moved in with me and my best friend moved in together when we got to Houston, just because it was a new place. So we didn't know anybody down here. It was safer for us to do that. And so when we moved together, then we lost income. So we only had one income in the house, and we pushed through. What income that was coming in, we did what we could. And then we were able to focus on what we needed to do for business. We were trying to anyway. So we were able to come up with creative ways to work through business. Mind you, you can't tell all of this from social media, from Instagram. You know how people say, like, Instagram is what did they say? Instagram is like a highlight reel. It really is. It really is a highlight reel. And you can't see what people are going through unless they tell you. And I want to make sure I'm transparent as I can be on this channel to let you know, like, when you guys see my highlight reel, that is the life I actually live. But you also don't see what I'm going through to live that life. And I don't mind sharing. I have to share it at the right time I'm called to share, just to protect my mental health, honestly. But I don't mind sharing, because this is like a real world. Like, people go through things. So that's why I'm sharing my testimony now, right? So anyway, lost the income. You want to get down? What you doing? Sit over here. Lost the income, and then making it through from lost income, and then God blessed us with money out of nowhere to pay off the rent that was overdue. And that was such a blessing. And it was out of nowhere. It was out of us stressing and everything like that, right? Because mind you, we're living through a pandemic nobody's ever seen before. That's stressful. We have to make sure that we're safe, because you could catch something and die. I have older parents, so I'm stressing and making like trying to make sure that they're okay, because I don't even live there, and so I'm nervous off of that alone. What else? At the same time, God was doing a lot spiritually, right? People were being removed from our lives, but my life specifically, at a rapid pace. I mean, significant people, like friends, like, you know, real significant people, they were being removed. Like, God was like, nope. And I prayed for transformation. I prayed for change. But baby, when you pray for change, when you ask God for change, be ready for that, because he started plucking people out like this. Like, oh, they're gone this week. They're gone this week. So mind you, my mental health, right? Again, we have a loss of income. It's a pandemic. I'm trying to make sure everybody, me and my family, everyone is safe. I'm losing friends. I'm losing people that I like, you know. It was just a lot of loss. It was a lot of loss. A lot of income loss. A lot of like relationship loss. 2020, 2021, that was years of complete loss. And looking back now, I thank God for that loss, because it prepared me for the abundance, the gain in 2020, 2-3. That I got a lot of gains. Still was taking L's, but it was all good. And so yeah, it took about 2 years from 2020 to 2022 for our household to gain, to come out of that, right? So I told you from the thumbnail, eviction, right? Now I thank God, because we went to eviction court, but that case was dismissed. That case was dismissed. God is so good, because it was trying. It was very trying. I had never went through that before, but you have loss of income. That's a real thing, you know. And I think God wanted me to see that. Like, Houston has a bad homeless population, and my heart already was going out for them. But then to go through something that could potentially leave me homeless, that was next level. So I just thank God that it didn't happen the way it was designed to. I was able to hire a lawyer and able to hire help to get through the case. And I just thank God that I went from seeing little to 5 figures coming in, and fixing everything. Like, God literally paid off all the back rent, all the future rent. Like, he'll get the back and the future, right? Like, that's how good my God is. Like, that's why I don't mind sharing my testimony. That's why I don't mind showing my weakness, because in my weakness you can see his strength. Like, when he came in, it took a while, and we were super stressed. We were super stressed because we couldn't see what was going to happen, but God knew what he was about to do. And when he came in, he took care of the other stuff, and he took care of the old and the new. And so we were able to focus on the other problems that we had at the time, which was the mold. We were living in the apartment, and it had such a bad case of mold in there. I mean, like, I could see it growing on my stuff. I had never dealt with that either. Like, Houston, I came to Houston, baby, and it was back-to-back stuff I had never dealt with. Back-to-back stuff I had never dealt with. I had never dealt with facing eviction. I had never dealt with In all the years I've lived alone or outside of my parents' house, I never dealt with that. I never dealt with mold issues where I could see them. I've never had that much loss, like relationship loss at one time. It was just that, oh my gosh, that was just such a hard time. And the stuff growing over the clothes, it was doing it at the same time the eviction was going on. So the landlord is like, we don't basically even care because we're not getting paid. But it's like, I'm breathing in mold. I could be getting mold poisoned, like, as we speak. And I end up getting the levels tested while we were moving out. And the person who tested was like, I don't know how you survived through that. Those levels could have easily killed you. They've killed others in the past. God is so good. God is so good. God is good that we were going through something that could mess up our respiratory system in the same time and space of a pandemic that deals with respiratory systems. Like, it's just, God saved us from so much. And yeah, it was that, those were some trying times. Those are some trying times. So boom, the rent is paid up. We are moving out, stuff like that. And I will say, as bad as we wanted to, or as bad as I wanted to focus on business and growth, it is hard to do that when you're under a lot of stress. It is easy to be happy and have a positive mind where you're not going through anything, but it is a challenge to do that when you're under immense pressure. So I thank God for even keeping my mind in those seasons. Most people, again, majority people don't know that that's what I've been through. And you can't tell that that's what I've been through. Now, if they were close to me, of course, I end up like letting them know what I was going through. But at the time, I didn't let anybody know. And that was hard in itself because we basically dealt with it alone. That was hard on the mental. It's a lot of mental stuff, which is why I'm so big with mental health now, because you have to take care of yourself. Life is so hard and it's so beautiful at the same time. So you have to be careful to remind yourself of you. That's the same time I was learning a lot of self-care. I was realizing the relationships, all of them weren't good for me. I was a people pleaser. I was a perfectionist. I was full of anxiety. Like, it was, oh my gosh, it was so much. But I thank God for pulling me out of that. And so jump forward again to moving out. End up moving out. Well, obviously mold grew over majority of my stuff. So the stuff that it didn't grow over, that I didn't want, I end up donating it to this homeless women's shelter in Katy. And then the stuff I did want, I end up putting it in a storage unit, because we moved out. And thank God around that time, my little sister, who was like my bestest pal, she had just moved to Houston, and I was able to stay with her a few days before leaving because my birthday was coming up. If y'all know me, I am always traveling for my birthday. And so I went to Hawaii. It was supposed to be for a month, but it ended up being 2 months. And I did that because obviously for the last 2 to 3 years, I was dealing with so much stress, and I had overcame so much that I was like, I'm about to enjoy. Rewind. I got a 6-figure job right after all of that bad stuff happened. I got a 6-figure job out of nowhere in tech, and it was such a crazy experience because I didn't know nothing about tech at all. But God, I am a quick learner though. So God was able to use the skills that he had already given me, and I was able to get a 6-figure job in tech. So literally coming from North Carolina and a few years in, I was able to triple, almost quadruple my salary. And that allowed me the ability to, what's wrong? What's wrong? You okay? Okay. That allowed me the ability to go to Hawaii for 2 months. Now, I went to Hawaii solo. I am a solo traveler. I love traveling in general, but I do love solo travel. So I was there for 2 months alone, and it was one of the best periods of my life. I was able to island hop and see the beauty of Hawaii. I know that it's very controversial of like going there, and I think I know why, because it is gentrified. Honestly, it is gentrified. But on top of it being gentrified, because I don't really think you can stop that too much as life progresses, but people just also don't care. Like, you don't care of the historical value here. Like, these are people's homes. Make sure you respect that, you know, make sure you respect their culture. Like, empower them with their food. Like, go try their food, you know what I mean? Go sit down with a local if you can find one, because they're getting pushed out, and hear their background. Like, take time to learn about the places you're going. Don't just be a traveler, you know. Don't just be a tourist. Don't do that. But anyway, went to Hawaii, had a blast there for 2 months, enjoyed life. And then I came back after that, after those 2 months of finding myself again, of letting go, of accepting what was, and looking ahead for what it was to come. That I needed Hawaii so bad. And I know you guys, the people who watched it on social media, I know what you've seen was like, wow, I've heard plenty of people say you inspired me to like travel or solo travel, and I am so grateful, you know, that you guys are inspired by that. But please know that I had to do that for my mental health. Like, I couldn't. Traveling helps my mental health, and I could not do it, because other than that, I was breaking down. And not with tears. I was just breaking down, because my tears at that time was like restricted. Like, I didn't cry, but I was internally messed up, and it's crazy because I didn't show it. I didn't tell people on my job. Most people just didn't know I was literally going through so much pain, because I just held it in. I just was tough, you know. I just pushed through, but I was literally just breaking down. So that Hawaii trip saved my life. I will forever and ever love Hawaii, and I'm thankful that I was able to go and do that. I'm thankful that I had the income by myself to go and do that and stay for so long. So yeah, Hawaii has my heart. Let me go back through the notes to make sure I ain't miss anything. I just want to mention what may be a blessing in one season may become a pain point in the next season, and you have to be able to shed that with grace. So the blessing, you know, coming in from 2019 to 2020, and that was the ability to move. Like, the apartment I moved to was like a blessing, and it became a pain point when it was time to leave. And it had to become a pain point. It had to, because if it had not become a pain point, I wouldn't have changed. So it makes me thank God for the things that go wrong, because he's using it all for my good, and I'm so grateful for that. So that's just like a little reminder that it can be a blessing in one season, and then it could be a pain point in the next. And okay, sorry, my camera stopped. But anyway, another reminder: don't ever wish you had someone else's life. You don't understand the battles that they fight to have the life they have, to just be there. You know, I would never want someone to idolize me and think like, oh, you have like such a great life, I want to be like just like you. No, you don't. Like, I understand what you mean, but you don't. You want the best life for you, not for me, not like mine, just for you. I am made for the life that I live, and you are made for the life that you live. So ask God for the grace, even better and stronger grace, to get through what you're going through, you know. But don't ever idolize someone else's life, because you don't know what these people are facing behind closed doors. I promise you, you don't. And you probably don't want to sometimes. But hey, no. Sit down. Okay, what's another one? Don't worry about the odds being against you. They are supposed to be against you. So I could look back and be like, wow, I had to go through this, and I had to go through that, and I had to go through this, and I had to go through that, and I was supposed to. I would not be who I am today, able to look at you in your eyes and tell you it's worth it, without seeing that was necessary. Those times where I didn't know how I was going to make it through, where God was stretching my faith, those were so necessary, because the journey that I'm headed into, I would be crushed under that if I had not went through that. God knows what you can handle, so he sends you what you can handle. So if you're going through a season right now and you just feel like you don't know how you're gonna make it through, don't worry. Don't even worry. You will make it through it. If you're going through a season like I went through, of like eviction and like just crazy things, just my advice is to not complain, because God does not like that. I think I was in my season as long as I was in it because I complained the whole time until I stopped complaining. And when I stopped complaining, I was able to have gratitude. And once I was able to have gratitude, things changed quickly after that. Once I was able to have gratitude, things changed very quickly after that. So I would say, if you're in a season of pain right now, don't complain. Don't complain. I know it's so easy to, but just find the things that you are, or the thing. It may only be one thing, but if you can find that one thing you're grateful for, then hold on to that. And if you can't find one thing you're grateful for, if you're able to look at this video, you have something to be grateful for. Because first off, you can see. First off, you have internet, you know, like, or some type of data to be able to see this. You can hear me, you know what I mean? Like, you have so many things to be grateful for. You're breathing. I know plenty of people that are gone completely. So you have way more than you know to be grateful for. So in those seasons where it's so hard, don't complain. Just be grateful. Even if you don't believe in the God I believe in, I think it's still very important to learn gratitude, because that is how you get through those hard seasons. I had to change my posture and my mindset. I had to say I was awarded with the attack, because God trusted me so much that he was like, she can handle it. Now, looking back, I know why he said that, but at the time I was like, God, I can't handle this. I don't know why you're giving me this, but I was awarded that, and I'm thankful because I knocked it out. I overcame it, you know. Only people who have power are attacked greatly. So remember that. Back to the story. So when I left Hawaii, I came back and I went to visit my parents for a little minute, because I had been gone for so long. That was the first time I had actually like left the land of US, the land of US, the 50 state. No, that's not the best way to say it. The main land. That's the best way. That's the first time I had left the mainland. No, that's not true either, because I lived in Spain for a few months. I hadn't went to see my parents. I just went to visit them once I left, and then after that I came back to Houston and I moved into my dream high rise, and still here, and I'm so grateful to just be here, you know. Don't get me wrong, there are times where I'm sitting there like, What if something happened and I can't pay this rent? But then I have to remind myself, God paid the rent the last time. And you don't understand, when I was paying the courts off, the eviction courts off, I seen piles and piles of cases that were actually going through. Like, these people were getting put out. These are people with children. These are people that are sick, and the economy and our government seems not to care that this is lives. You know, that's so crazy to me. I'm grateful that it wasn't so on my case, but I had sorrow at the same time that it is so for so many people. And that's why I feel called again. I feel even a deeper call to helping with the homeless. And so I actually volunteer with a group now. And so if you're in Houston and you want to volunteer, just hit me up, because we can go volunteer together. But yeah, the things God has kept me from is, I know I keep saying it, but God is really good. If you knew, I'm telling you the main things, but you don't understand the true details that God put me through. And I just thank him. I just thank him. Okay, so yeah, I moved into my dream high rise. I was able to travel the world. And when I say the world, I mean the world. Like, within the year of 2023, mind you, 2020 to 2022, like, I was getting punched, like getting beat up left and right. Life was beating me up. 2023, I moved into the end of 2022, but 2023 moved into the high rise. Wasn't even here. Okay, I was on a plane every month last year in 2023. A few places I went was Amalfi Coast, Rome. I went back to Rome. I love Rome because I love pasta. Thailand. I went home a few times. I went to Phoenix. I can't even remember all the places that I've been. Or I went last year. Oh, I did a solo trip to Puerto Rico. I was gone all of last year. So I went from, again, like hard times to 6 figures, high-rise living, which doesn't mean anything if you don't care for that, but I wanted that, so that meant something to me. So 6 figures, high-rise living, traveling around the world. Again, doesn't matter if you don't care about that. Whatever you care about, just imagining God giving you everything you care about after dealing with things you didn't think you could. That's what happened. So last year was one for the books. It was so crazy because I was battling so much mentally, still from the aftermath of what I had went through and the things that I was going through in that season last year, which I'll discuss in another video. But I was battling so much, but last year was one for the books. Okay, and this year this year has been crazy. We only in May. When I tell you God has been moving since the beginning of this year. Now, mind you, I prayed for freedom, and he gave it to me in ways I didn't even expect. So, I thought I was having my faith stretched 2 years ago. This season, even crazier. But again, this is the testimony for the past season, so thank God for that. It kind of leads me into like just the closing of this, right? So as I said before, I'm in a brand new season now. The eviction, the mold poisoning, the failures, the loss of relationships, all of that was 2020 to 2022, 3. From 2023 to up until like at the beginning of this year, I was dealing with something else. And it's the end. I'm in the end of that something else now. And I will discuss that in another testimony video after I move out of it, because I don't like to discuss things if I'm in it, just for my mental health. But I will say this season, this from last year to this year, it had heavy anxiety in it, heavy depression, but it deepened my relationship with God, and it gave me radical faith. Like, I had stretched faith, but now I got radical faith, and it's so crazy. And I wanted to mention that this past weekend, or this past semester, I've been in this group at the church called Freedom. I go to Hope City here in Houston, and if you're looking for a church, absolutely come on in. It's a multicultural church, so you can find somebody that look like you know, but multi-generational too, so it don't matter if you're old or young, you should just come on in. But anyway, I went through this freedom encounter, freedom thing, and this season was gutting. Everything that I've been dealing with, everything that I was holding on to, even from childhood, it was all pulled out. And I ended up getting rebaptized this past weekend. I ended up getting rebaptized this past weekend because I felt new after all of that gutting. Like, I hadn't cried in years. My tears had been taken away, and the ability to cry, even when if something was sad, I just couldn't cry, and that was restored to me. Like, when I tell you I was crying all weekend, God is just so good. So yeah, I'll tell you guys more about this season and once it's done. But God has been calling me to share my life. I can no longer hide anymore. So this is me just doing it, right? Like, I'm recovering from perfectionism. Normally that would have choked me up and been like, girl, that don't look the way. Nope, I don't like that. But now I just have to put it out. Like, I just got to tell somebody, because that's what I'm being called to do. I'm being called to share my life. And it's crazy because I was given a lot of signs, like, right before this, of people I didn't even like expect to be like, you know, I know who you are. You inspire me to do this. You inspire me to do this online. So God gave me signs like, you got to get back online. So this is me getting online. And so the next video, which I'm already recording, is a vlog. And so you will kind of see my week of, like, the beginning of freedom all the way up until the end of this week. So make sure you check that out. Make sure you subscribe, like the video, comment what God has brought you through. Yeah, I want to hear your testimonies. It could be big or small. It don't have to be like anything crazy, and feel free to share what you are comfortable with sharing. But I want to hear your breakthroughs. Sit down. And then I just want to let you guys know that, so on this channel, it is just going to be about my life, my crazy life, right? I live a crazy life anyway. I have fun. I just live life. But God is calling me to share it again. And so on this channel, we're going to talk about faith. We're going to talk about growth mindset, business and career advancement. We're going to absolutely talk about that, because I'm business minded, and like I went to school and got a master's in business. Like, we own it, right? We're going to talk about travel because I love it. And of course, sit down. And of course, we're going to talk about, like, lifestyle. Of course, like, you got to look good while you're going through. So we're going to talk about beauty. We're going to talk about fitness. We're going to talk about fashion. We're going to talk about everything. So it's just like a little mixture of a lot of things on this channel. And I just thank you guys for coming along. I don't know where God is going to take this. I don't know who is going to see this. But I give it to God. And if you don't get anything else from this video, just know you can trust him in the good times and in the bad times. And I think that's it, guys. Make sure you tune in to the next video. Say bye, Milo. Say bye. Bye, guys. Milo. We finished our first vlog. Oh, this ain't a vlog. This is a testimony. We finished our first testimony, Milo. Good job. Good job.